If you put your effort into it, you can make changes in a short time. The following is content that I've always wanted to tell you all. Hello, I'm HawaiiDJT. Following on from the last video, I wanted to talk about how you can bring your imaginations to reality. Out of the 4 methods that I always talk about, talking out loud, writing out by hand, imagining in your mind, I mentioned those 3 in the previous video. I'll talk about the most common questions that the subscriber sent in and introduce the 4th method. The most common question was about imagining the dream and how you don't feel that excited when you imagine yourself fulfilling your dream. There are 3 reasons. First is when it's not really what you want. You might think it's your greatest desire, but just as I mentioned previously, it might just be something you want just because people around you have it too. You must ask yourself if it's a desire that isn't influenced by others. If it's something you really want, you really feel excited and happy when you visualize it. Secondly, you might visualize it because it helps, but you must check that you have the belief that it'll come true. For example, I'll have 10 million in net worth by 2027, and I'm living my life helping others in need could be what you imagine. But as you really think about it, you might have doubts about actually being able to make 10 million. Even with just Lotto, that's winning 10 times. Gaining that net worth by investing might seem too hard with what you have. Your underlying doubt is that it'll probably never come true. Because you're visualizing something that you actually think won't come true, you don't feel that excitement. You don't feel happy about it at all. Thinking it'll probably never happen means it'll never come true for me. And basically, you're imagining something that has nothing to do with you. It'd be stranger if you felt excited about something that doesn't concern you. You first have to believe. If you have that belief about the goal of having 10 million, if you really believe and visualize it, and you could try and make it a reality. Or you could just imagine a goal that is believable. If 3 million seems more plausible, make that your goal. Of course, I've always said that your goal should be unrealistic. But everyone could have their own standard of what unrealistic is. 3 million could be plausible, but for others it could seem impossible. Take the time to think about it. However, a life goal, a midterm and final goal, I hope you remember that it should seem unrealistic at first. Third reason is related to the goal and the scale of it. If you set a goal that you think you could reasonably achieve, then you won't feel excitement about achieving it. Because if it's a goal that is possible, then, even without desperation and that extra effort, you could reasonably achieve it. And goals that are reasonable achievable are generally small in scale. For example, I have successfully lost 30 kilograms of weight by June 2023. This might seem unrealistic to some, but if you think it's unrealistic and you adjust that goal to be 7 kilograms to make it more plausible. Of course, 7 kilograms of weight loss isn't easy, but it's still a very small goal. 30 kilograms and 7 kilograms is more than 4 times difference. And a 7 kilogram weight loss isn't really something that you should have to be desperate to be achieved. Visualize yourself successfully losing 7 kilograms and not being excited about that is understandable. Compared to imagining yourself completely transformed after 30 kilogram weight loss, there's a huge difference. The 4th method of making a dream into a reality is being thankful. I'll answer the most asked question. The question's asked, what should I be thankful for? There are 2 things. You must be thankful for the having achieved what you desired. And the second thing are the things you might not be aware of, but thankful for the things you have already. Those 2 things. People who have succeeded say you should be thankful. If someone asked me to summarize the book The Secret, I'd summarize it as visualizing and thankfulness. A lot of people speak out loud and write things out and visualize goals, neglecting that last method. In bringing your dreams to reality, being thankful is very important. There are 3 reasons that you must be thankful. Firstly, it's to improve your mood. It's something I go on and on about. But the most important thing when making dreams come true is maintaining a positive emotion all the time. Being in a good mood means you are full of positive energy. When you speak out loud and write with that positive energy, you have better results after a year of visualization. These methods are like a mirror, so your results are like get direct feedback from the positive energy. Why do you feel good when you are thankful? Being thankful is generally felt when you have received something. When you have received help, generosity, kind words, gifts from someone, it's the emotion you feel when you receive anything. Feeling thankfulness is the feeling of receiving something, so you feel a sense of reassurance and satisfaction. So with that positive energy, you are able to maintain a good mood. The second reason to be thankful is for yourself in the present. I've mentioned previously that I consider time as a fourth dimension rather than the third. I consider time as point just like something in space. That means the you that is successful in the future is living well at that point. The present you is being driven towards that person in the future point, and that future you is also pulling you to that future. It's a two-way interaction, but generally, you don't think of it like this. That's why the aforementioned 3 methods, speaking out loud, writing, and visualizing methods, are all about hoping the future comes true. You can fall into this trap. If I keep doing these methods until the future comes true, I should just endure the pain in the present until the end. But as you think of it as enduring, it becomes extremely difficult to stay positive. Withstanding the external pressures and forces, the definition of enduring. Just enduring the challenges in the present is something that a person cannot sustain for long. Even if you do, just as many people say burning the candle at both ends, it becomes very difficult to stay in good health and sound mind. But if you stay thankful of the things you already have, which you seem to usually neglect, as well as being thankful for the better future ahead, then you aren't just enduring the present struggles, but you move forward with anticipation and happiness. Because you in a future point in time is already living a life with the success you desire in the present. When both the present and future you are pulling each other together, the journey towards that better future is one of excitement. Moving towards a point that already has what you desire has excitement and happiness. So I hope you remember what I mentioned before about doing it for the present you is precisely for this reason. The third reason for being thankful is to make the best choice. The effect of having the habit of being thankful is becoming level-headed. You don't make rash decisions. I think this is the biggest improvement in my life. Even my wife tells me that my personality has changed. It keeps you calm and relaxed. The source of that calmness is from deep inside. This prevents you from rushing towards a decision. Rushed decisions accounts for a lot of losses you make in life. But usually, you don't realize it. Because in the moment, you don't see that. The consequences of that rushed decision will arise months and years away, then it's too late to reverse it. To explain this in more detail, we make countless decisions in our lives. It's not always a life-changing decision. What you wear in the morning, what shoes you'll wear, are all decisions in life. When you see the pedestrian crossing turn green, whether you'll run to make it, you make hundreds of decisions in a day. And not only these minor things, there will be important decisions mixed in between. But if you rush them, it's very easy to make the wrong decision. Rushing occurs when your state of mind isn't calm. Because you're in a rush, you don't have time to think. Imagine yourself in an exam, and you still have 10 questions left to answer. You hear the supervisors say there's 5 minutes left. You suddenly feel panic and perhaps sweat too. Words that were easy to read just before suddenly seem harder to read, and thinking becomes harder too. And what do? In your panic, you guess the answers. I've done this many times too. Guessing the answer is just choosing without thinking whether it's the best decision. In other words, you're just leaving your life to chance. However, the present you is the result of countless decisions that stacked up. And just like that, the decisions you make from now on will stack up leading to the future you. But if you don't make the best choice and make the second best, or even worse, making the worst decision, these bad decisions can accumulate. How will the future you be? In contrast, if you stay level-headed, and though you might not always be 100% correct, if you make good choices months, years, or decades later, the resulting person you become will be dramatically different. Following from the previous video, I've talked about 4 methods of bringing your dreams to reality. I've kept the habit of speaking out loud 100 times a day for many years, even today. I tried writing it out 100 times for 100 days last year. Visualizing an image is something I do when putting my child to sleep or in the shower. I still do it now, and being thankful is something I do before bed and right after waking up. As I mentioned last week, apart from these 4 methods, I'm planning to talk about other additional methods too. I do all of the following methods that I'm going to tell you. I'm like a maximalist of bringing the dream to reality. I do about 10 methods to make this come true. I've created a habit of doing these 10 things so it doesn't seem too hard for me. It's just a daily routine. Of course, as I don't spend much time at work now, I have time to do this. I can confidently say this because I've personally done this for many years. If you have belief like me and create a habit of all the methods, then you can really enhance the full power of these methods. I've always done this. I've always achieved things faster than my expectations. For all the things in my life, including investing, I've always wanted to tell you. You'd think that it is mid to long-term goals, expecting them to take 5, 10, or 20 years to realize. I want to tell you that it's not true. Some goals take months. Many were realized within a year. Fully utilizing the powers allows fast results. I've always wanted to emphasize this part. Out of the extra methods I'll tell you, you'll think to yourself that you can really do some of them or you want to try them. If you start with those methods, you'll notice changes in your life, changes in your energy, mood, and situations that happen in your life. The first method is one that Konda Masanori Strong recommends. Write your goal in a notebook. It doesn't matter how many. Konda Masanori mentions a businessman in the US who wrote 6,000. Konda Masanori himself wrote 128. I personally have 29 written in my Keymaster notebook. Keymaster notebook is just a name I made up. It has no meaning. In the Matrix movie series, you need the Keymaster to proceed into the system core. That just came to mind when I named it. Write core goals as well as others linked to it. Write goals completely unrelated to it too whenever you think of it. Out of Konda Masanori's 128 goals, there's one that says, receiving a call from the Prime Minister praising my book after he read it. After hearing that example, you can tell how the goals should look, right? Here's a key point. You read your goals once before going to bed and right after waking up. That's it. You can just read it silently, and preferably keep the notebook with you at all times. Reading it before and after sleep, there's a reason for doing that. According to Konda Masanori, this method is like a hypnosis for lazy people like himself. The human mind tends to resist what it doesn't understand. It will tend to perceive a new task is hard to achieve. In simpler words, even if you try changing your subconscious, your conscious mind will prevent your attempts from breaking in. Especially for actions and thoughts that you usually don't have, it's particularly serious. You must wait for the conscious mind to let its guard down and reprogram your subconscious mind. When is this chance? It's right after waking up and right before going to sleep. You are aiming for that window when the conscious mind is weak. The reprogramming method is as easy as what I mentioned. It's just reading goals on paper before going to sleep. You don't have to read it out loud, and you read it again right after waking up. That's the method. The reason for keeping it with you when you go out is because the act of having it close makes you aware of yourself keeping your goals with you, and you remind yourself of these goals throughout your entire day. I've been doing this method after reading Konda Masanori's book. As always, I wrote on my iPad Good Notes app with my Apple Pencil. I didn't type it. As I've mentioned, I don't recommend typing. The iPad app syncs with my phone, so it's very convenient to read before and after sleep. It's good to write on a real notebook, but I also strongly recommend you try writing on a tablet PC like me. I wrote 29 goals and read it twice a day. 2 have already come true, and 1 is about to. Konda Masanori also said, anything I wanted to come true just by writing it on paper. This is the only method I use. I understand why people say I'm just lucky, because just a few years ago, I thought exactly like you. As I make this video today, I became disappointed. I was going to try conclude the series of videos related to this topic no matter what, but as I make the video, there were so many other things that I want to tell you. I poured my heart and soul a little too much. I'm losing my voice too. In the next video, I'll talk about methods of bringing dreams into reality, including 5 methods other than what I mentioned today. And if I have time remaining, I'll also mention some legendary cases too. I want to finish on this last point. These methods that I've talked about since last week have been common methods that successful people have used for centuries. Yet, still a lot of people doubt it, saying things like, "Is that really possible?" Successful people are not obliged to lecture people who don't know or unwilling to believe. Moreover, because those people value time over money, they have even fewer reasons to do that. That's why a person like me, who you might meet on the street, who even has a lot of time, is telling you on their behalf, if you're required to do something every day and it costs $30 a day, or it takes 4 hours a day, or imagine you must run 5 kilometers without rest, it wouldn't be easy. But there's no burden like that. It doesn't cost money. Neither does it require excessive effort. There's no risk, and it doesn't negatively impact anyone around you. There's really no reason not to try. I really hope you consider trying these methods. Thank you.